Origin Unexplained.
Hello, welcome back. This is Origin Unexplained, and today we are going to talk about something totally scary, scarier than any kind of alien cryptid story, any time travel, time warp, disappearing story, anything ever. And why? Because it is full-blown reality. And secondly, because every one of you have done at least one. So I'm going to get on with it, but first I want to let you know it's going to sound like a monologue because it had to be written out. It just had to be. There was too much to not write it out. And this, my friends, is what people don't want to talk about, but need to talk about. First, you're going to hear me explain all the problems, how we got the problems, and then how to fix it. So, here we go. Let's get on with it. I'm your host, Sue, and this is Origin Unexplained. What is this world coming to? That's not just a saying anymore. It's a real question people are asking quietly under their breath every single day. There was a time when people lived simpler, slower, and stronger, when folks earned respect through actions and not hashtags, when dinner meant eye contact, not screen time, when identity wasn't about performance, but it was about presence. Not now. Now we're stuck in a high-speed, high-drama, high-anxiety culture where nobody can sit still, think straight, or breathe deep. And I'm not here to say everything was better back in the day. No. Progress is necessary. It always has been. But this isn't progress. It's panic packaged as progress. It's noise disguised as authenticity. And it's entitlement marketed as empowerment. So let's talk about it. So there's a difference between living as your true self and performing your identity like it's a part of a Spotify playlist, guys. These days, everyone's got a script. They lead with it like a name tag. Hi, I'm Joe. I have PTSD, and I'm bipolar. Hi, I'm Carl. I am neurodivergent with CPTSD and ADHD and have social anxiety. Hi, I'm Cassandra. I go by they, them, void, fungus, and I'm a survivor of 12 toxic relationships and have a past life in Atlantis. And you're supposed to smile and nod like, wow, so strong, when really, it's not strength. It's performance. Performance, guys. It's a culture that's confused trauma with identity and identity with drama. We used to introduce ourselves with what we stood for, what we loved, what we did. Now it's a list of disorders, diagnosis, or past abuses, as if the worst in your history are the more valid you are and what gets rewarded. Value? The louder you are, the more you're heard. The more the labels you collect, the more attention you get. We've turned pain into popularity and identity into theater. Some literally lie and create stories to fit in. That's not authenticity, guys. That is exhaustion. All of that is exhaustion on overload. It's absolutely crazy, right? We've created an entire generation that can't get away from themselves. Everything is about me. What I feel, what I need, what I identify as, what triggers me. People have become trapped in their own reflections. What's the worst part? They're too spun out to care about anyone else. There used to be room in the world for empathy, genuine compassion for other people's lives, and now everyone's running in circles trying to fix themselves, prove themselves, or show off their symptoms. Yeehaw. And compassion? It's been replaced with self-branding. Even at the dinner table, people aren't even present. They're on their phones, messaging strangers in support groups who share the same symptoms. Gamers, watching videos, collecting virtual hugs, instead of looking across the table and simply saying, how was your day? Sound familiar? We have created a world where the self is the center of gravity, and it's made everyone completely dizzy. This world actually runs on speed now. Not quality, not care, just speed. People want everything now. Instant gratification. Sound familiar? Fast food, fast money, fast validation, fast healing, fast fame. But when you live fast, you fall apart faster, guys. Come on. Take the workplace. You used to have to earn your way to a better title, better pay, or more respect. Now, people show up on day one, ask why they're not running the place by day two. You ask someone to slow down and do it right, and they say, oh, I don't have time. But then they do it twice, or worse, pass it off. Look at tech support. You call for help, and what do you get? 5 transfers, 30 minutes of holding. And if you're lucky, someone who might actually help will be there. If not, you get disconnected. Why? Because nobody wants to own the problem anymore. They just want to move it. When speed becomes the goal, quality dies. Right? Accountability dies, and we all suffer for it. People don't even eat real food anymore. They don't have time. Fast food is a diet now. Not because people love it, but because it's fast. You eat a bag of garbage, feel like garbage, and then, you wonder why. We didn't land here by accident. We built this. This isn't a call to go backwards. We don't need to undo. We don't need to undo the progress, but we do need to rethink what progress even means. Progress isn't loud. It's not fast. It's not dramatic. Real progress is actually steady, gradual, rooted. It builds over time. It creates strength, not stress, and it lifts. Okay? It lifts people up instead of spinning them out. It allows people to be individuals without turning every identity into like a big megaphone. Here I am. It allows people to grow without needing applause every step of the way, and it allows people to slow down without falling behind. So if you're feeling tired, frustrated, or feeling just lost in this chaos, you're not crazy. You're not broken. You're just awake, and maybe that's what the world needs most right now. So let's slow this down for a second, because what we're dealing with here isn't a bunch of random problems. It's a pattern. It's a system, and it's time to start connecting the dots here. At the center of it all, technology, and money, and control. Technology, though, was supposed to make life easier, and at first it did. But it didn't stop. It sped up, and then it kept speeding. And now we're at the point where it's running the show, and we're the ones trying to keep up with it. Every week, it's a new device, a new update, a new system, a new app, a new way to be connected. It somehow makes everyone feel more alone. In the human brain, it's not built for this much change this fast. No, it's not. Scientifically, the brain handles change best when it's gradual and integrated over time. But this nonstop digital roller coaster, phones buzzing, screens glowing, faces down, attention span shot, it's short-circuiting people. It's rewiring how we think, how we talk, how we treat each other. And we're not adapting. We're unraveling. And while tech keeps spinning, we've also got another system quietly falling in the background. Mental health. So now before anyone jumps, yes, mental health care is important. The problem isn't that people are getting help. The problem is that they're being boxed, diagnosed, labeled, and classified faster than they're actually understood. It's become a culture of, oh, you're anxious. You must be this. You're emotional. Here's a code for that. You're not functioning. Let's give it a name, a drug, and a support. Yeah, sound familiar, does it? Yeah, that's what happens. Yep, here's your support group. And now what do we have? A society full of people who introduce themselves by what's wrong with them? Hi, I'm Sue. I have anxiety. I have PTSD. That's real special, isn't it? Think about it. People who have been trained to say, I'm bipolar or I have trauma before they even say what they love or believe in? That's something. We stopped helping people become whole and started slicing them up into medical codes and on meds. And that's not healing, sorry. That's management. That's a system that feeds itself by telling you you're broken and handing you a label to wear like a badge. But here's where it gets worse. All this, the technology, the labels, the emotional noise, it's being rewarded. People don't just get attention for living. Sorry. They get attention for struggling loudly, for being offended, for being seen as fragile. And because everyone's afraid to call that out, yeah, they're afraid of it because they're afraid of being labeled for saying what's really wrong, insensitive, or toxic. We've created something dangerous, guys. A generation of people who have never been told no, who've never had to build real emotional resilience, and who thinks of being triggered as a superpower and being corrected as an attack. Come on. If you do call it out, you're the villain. And let me tell you something. I have been called the villain. Yes. You can't say that's not healthy. You can't say that's manipulative. You definitely can't say that's weak, because if you do, you're going to offend them. So what do we call this group? Well, we'll just call them the I don't want to be offended group, I guess. They walk through the world expecting everyone to bend around their triggers, bow to their feelings, and fix their problems for them. And when they don't get that, they blow up or shut down or start a hashtag. Now listen, I'm not trying to attack people who are struggling. Everyone has struggles, everyone's human. But what I'm calling out is this. We've created emotional monsters, not because they started that way, but because we stopped holding people accountable. We let tech replace time. We let diagnosis replace development. We let fear or offense override truth. And we told people that being loud and broken is stronger than being quiet and working on it. That is not progress. That's permission. And permission without responsibility. That's how you build chaos. So let's talk about the mental health system, because this one's important. And it's broken in ways nobody wants to say out loud. We are not helping people heal. We are labeling them. We are sedating them. And we're covering up the symptoms and calling that treatment. So you walk into a doctor's office these days and say you're tired and anxious and overwhelmed. They don't ask what you're eating. They don't ask how much tech you're staring at. They don't ask what kind of pressure you're under or what kind of life you're carrying. They slap a label on you, hand you a prescription, and send you out the door, and usually under 10 minutes, or maybe 15. We are drugging the effects and ignoring the causes. Nobody's talking about the root of it. Your body's screaming for nutrients. Your nervous system's a wreck from stress. Your brain is fried from constant screen time. And your life has no peace or pause built into it. Everything's running around like crazy, fast, and mad. So let's call that generalized anxiety disorder, and we'll give you a pill. Let's call your burnout clinical depression. I'm going to hand you a bottle. So let's say your child has attention issues, and give them amphetamines at 8 years old instead of asking, what are they eating? What are they watching? How much time do you spend in nature? This system isn't built to heal. It's built to manage. It's not about making people strong. It's about keeping them sedated enough to survive the chaos we refuse to fix. And yes, sometimes medication is necessary, but you don't fix a damn rotting floor by throwing a rug down on it now, do you? You pull it up. You find out what's leaking. You get to the source. Right now, we're raising an entire society that's being taught to cope instead of correct. That's why people feel stuck. That's why so many are still suffering, even while on 5 different medications and 3 different treatment plans, because we're treating the boo-boos with Band-Aids, when what we really need is rehab for the whole damn house. And no one should use their diagnosis as a reason for their attitudes or for their toxic behavior. So now let's talk about the food. The garbage people are eating because it's fast and cheap and everywhere, not to mention easy to cook. Let's talk about the stress, the kind that never shuts off because everything is 24/7, and now you're expected to be on all the time. Let's talk about the technology that keeps us addicted, distracted, and overstimulated from the minute we wake up to the minute we pass out with the TV still on. Let's talk about the pace of life that never just lets up and the culture that rewards burnout like it's ambition. You want to fix people? You fix the systems that are making them sick. You stop handing out labels like candy. You stop throwing pills at pain. And stop agreeing with people who blame everyone else for their damn shortcomings. And you stop telling people they're broken when they're actually just overloaded, undernourished, and emotionally abandoned by a world that's too busy to care. This is the truth people are starving for. And it's time somebody said it. Thanks so much for this odd and bizarre podcast this time. But every once in a while, we talk about odd and bizarre things and scary things and all the sorts. And to me, this is something that everybody deals with every second of every day. Thanks for listening. This is Origin Unexplained. If you have a story that you want to tell and have read off, or if you want to be on a podcast with your own stories or anything like that, email us at originunexplained, and that's UNX, no E there, PLAINED, @gmail.com. Thanks again, guys.